Welcome back to Caps Hockey Review. Back with you after a 3-game break. Some losses to break down, kind of some tough luck for the Caps. That injury bug keeps hanging around. We'll talk about it right now. Caps Hockey Review, let's go. And off we go. Caps Hockey Review is underway. As I said, tough losses for the Caps this last week. Tough one against the Lightning, 1-goal game. Overtime loss to the Panthers. Another 1-goal loss to the Flyers on Saturday. Man, missing Backstrom and Oshie really hurts. They were missing Nick Dowd for a stretch there. They're missing Anthony Mantha now. I mean, these injuries keep stacking up for the Caps. I talked about it at the beginning of the season. Hopefully, they struggled with injuries last year. Hopefully they can avoid them a little bit this year. So far, it hasn't worked out in their favor for that. But I'm not here to blame everything on injuries, because that's not how hockey works. We don't stop playing just because you have a few guys hurt. So, for the Caps, I guess we'll start with some positives before we get into the negative. But positive-wise, Ovi still finding the net, chipping in some assists. He's creeping up to his 600th career assist. He's sitting at 740 goals. He's sitting one behind Brett Hull for 4th all-time. So, countdown's still going. More big news. Brett Leeson scores his first NHL goal. Conor Mcmichael scores his first NHL goal. These young kids are contributing. They're chipping in, and they have to. You're missing now 3 of your top 6 forwards. You need these young guys. It's a learning curve. There's going to be some growing pains, but they have to step up and they have to deliver right now. And that's how they're going to cement themselves as full-time NHLers instead of, being up and down in the minors. Speaking of up and down, Alexei Protis makes his NHL debut against the Lightning. From there, he's sent back to Hershey with a healthy Nick Dowd, now back in the fold. Called back up after the injury to Anthony Mantha in the Florida game. Sent back down to Hershey. Was called back very briefly, and then sent back to Hershey. Man, now, I doubt he actually traveled for those last couple. They came pretty close together, so, but still, a bit of an up and down. The call-ups, the send-downs, it's just like, man, I'm going up, no, I'm staying here. I'm staying here. So, weird time for Alexei Protis. Hopefully it's not too tough for the young guy. Bright future for that guy as well. We like what we see in the Tampa game. He made a few mistakes defensively. Playing center in the NHL, you got to be defensively responsible. Made a couple mistakes, but those are young kid mistakes, and those will get corrected with time. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. So, Vitek Vanacek. I guess I can't dive into the negatives just yet. Vitek Vanacek, I'm going to say it again. He is cementing himself as the number 1 goalie. And sure as hell, now Samsonov's next start, he's going to come out and get a freaking shutout. This thing is just up and down. Samsonov had a weird game against the Panthers. Scheduled to make the start. Leaves the ice right before the game, guessing maybe needed a bathroom break or something with the equipment. Speculation is bathroom break, though, but that's more interesting or more funny than an equipment malfunction. So they're rolling with that one. Came back in about a minute in, so Vanacek wasn't even supposed to start. So he's a couple minutes right off the hop. Well, that wasn't the end of his night because, I mean, Samsonov had a tough one, had, a couple goals that were iffy. I mean, they're kind of, they're right in front of the net. The Caps defense needs to do a better job of clearing that out, and that's kind of my first point on the negatives, but we'll get there. And then some good point shots from the Panthers found a way through. It's unclear. After the Panthers' third goal, it's unclear whether Laviolette decided to pull Samsonov or if Samsonov pulled himself. We're still not clear on that. I don't know. He's tough to figure out sometimes. He kind of does some weird stuff. But anyway, Vanacek, I would say had the stronger week if we're talking goalies here. I mean, God's had a pretty solid performance against the Lightning, made some big saves, came in relief in the Panthers game and made some huge saves, and played really well against the Flyers as well. I mean, 2 goals and I'll jump into the negatives here. The big thing the Caps have to clean up in their own end of the ice is letting their opponents get those chances right in front of the net. Those are tough ones for goalies to make, especially on rebounds. You got to clear your guy out of the paint, and you've got to clear the puck away too. And they struggled to do that against Panthers, and then we saw both Flyers goals on Saturday. Same kind of play. Scramble in front of the net, loose puck in front of the net. You got to get rid of those. So some defensive breakdowns this week, and quite frankly, there is a lack of offense. Like I said, we don't like to make excuses, but you are missing TJ Oshie, Nicholas Backstrom, Anthony Mantha. It's going to be tough. You're putting new guys in the lineup. You're getting them acclimated to the system. Mcmichael's played the most out of these young guys. He looks fairly comfortable at this point. Brett Leeson's figured in. Hendrix Lapierre has found his way back in on Saturday against the Flyers. And, man, just that lack of offense it's tough right now. It's somewhat to be expected, but it's definitely tough. Our buddy Kuznetsov has cooled off a little bit this week. Hopefully he can get right back to it coming up here. Sabres game on Monday night, so hopefully he can get back to his game. He's been so great so far this season, so looking for him to keep going. Looking for Vanacek to stay strong. Looking for Ovi to pass Hull. That's what we're looking for coming up. Some big games here. I always say big games because they're all big games. All 82. Anyway. Oh, gosh. Buffalo Sabres. I apologize for that. Buffalo Sabres on Monday night. That's a scrappy team. That is a scrappy young team. They finally pulled off the Jack Eichel trade to send him to Vegas after we've all been sitting here holding our breath for however many months. Finally get the deal done. I can sit here and speculate about that, but this is Caps Hockey Review. This is not Knights Hockey Review or Sabres Hockey Review, so I won't really get too far into that. But that's a scrappy team they got over there. They've been really solid this season. They're sitting in a top 3 spot in their division for the first time in who knows how long. I mean, they look good. Do I think they're a playoff team in the long run? Maybe not, but they're gonna make you work. So the Caps, it's gonna be a tough one, but you got to go in there, you got to slug it out, and get back in the win column. 3 straight losses. That's tough. Point streak stopped by Tampa Bay with the Caps' first regulation loss of the season on Monday. They come right back on Thursday against the Panthers, get a point in the OT loss, like I said, and then they come out against the Flyers and drop 1 in regulation. And the hard thing here is I think the Caps played well enough to win in all of those games. The Lightning, Braden Point had a pretty timely goal early in the third period to make it a 3-1 game for them. And it's just kind of a tough one to crawl out of in the NHL. So an untimely goal, I'll say. The Panthers, I mean, the Caps did a great job in that game to climb out of a hole. I mean, they were down 4-1. We've seen a game, like the Flames game earlier in the year. They could have folded the tents and been like, you know what, boys, tonight's not our night. We'll come back next game. We'll be better. They kept battling, and they found a way to get it tied late in the game. Conor Mcmichael's first NHL goal. Ovechkin with a couple assists in that game. Another goal for him. This guy, he's buzzing this year. He's looking really good, and I keep saying that because I have to. The man's doing it at 36. That is going to become one of my catchphrases this year. I've been saying it every time I do this. He's been so impressive this year. He's the motor that drives this team, so it stands to reason. In times like this, you're missing all these key guys. You need Ovi to step up and lead this team by example and through his words, and he's certainly doing that. So, what did we get in the Flyers game? We got a pretty good battle. I mean, having time to sit here and digest this thing, having buddies who are Flyers fans, dad's a Flyers fan, so everybody, I'll shout out your Flyers. I did it for my mom's Red Wings. I will shout out your Flyers this one time. If they win the cup, I'll do it too, but right now, I'll shout out your Flyers. They played a good game. Martin Jones, backup goalie for the Flyers, number 2 to Carter Hart's number 1. Great game by him. Wow. He had up the force field. He was a brick wall. He was the reason I think the Flyers were able to come out with a win. The Caps kind of had these tough starts lately for the Caps. Both in the Panthers game and the Flyers game, they give up the first goal. And it kind of changes. They're a much better team when they score first and they get off on the right foot. So, against the Flyers, I would argue, like I said, in all 3 of these games, the Caps probably played well enough to win, but it doesn't always go your way. So, for the Flyers game, the big thing all night, Martin Jones finding a way to keep the Caps off the score sheet until late in the game, and just breakdowns in front of the net. The Caps, aside from that, they played a great game, but just tough. Just a tough loss to take. I'm kind of dwelling on this one a little bit, but it's hockey. I mean, like I just said, it doesn't always go your way. So, what are we looking for coming up here? Like I said, big game against the Sabres. They're all big games. I'm going to keep saying that. Everyone's a big game. And then off to Detroit on Thursday, paying their first visit to Little Caesars Arena this season in the Motor City. Back-to-back for the first time this season. Friday night, they will be in Columbus to take on the Blue Jackets, divisional opponents. And Sunday fun day. Pittsburgh Penguins pay a visit to Capital One Arena. First one of the season. A healthy Sidney Crosby for the Penguins. We'll see if the Caps can get some of these bodies back. Mantha is he's out for at least a few months yet. I don't know if it was emergent shoulder surgery, but it was mighty quick after that Panthers game that he did have surgery. So he is out for, I think they said indefinitely. So no idea on a timetable for him. Oshie still week to week. Backstrom hasn't had a regular practice yet. We'll see. I obviously not going to see any of those guys for the Sabres game. Maybe toward the end of the week we'll get a little clearer picture on Backstrom. I wouldn't expect to see Oshie this week yet, but you never know. I mean, man, these injuries, it's tough. I mean, you've got, on paper, as with pretty much any year, the Caps are one of the best teams in the NHL on paper, but that obviously doesn't do any good. We don't play the game on paper, but when you're missing these big pieces, it's going to be tough. I would not expect to see the Caps come out and win any of these games 6-1 or 5-0, whatever. It's going to be tough. They're going to have to battle it out, and they're just going to have to keep grinding. I mean, I would expect, couple 1 or 2 goal games. The Caps are terrible in 1 goal games this year. I don't think they've won a game that's been a 1 goal game. They're 0-4 in overtime so far. Just, man, need to find a way to get those wins in 1 goal games, because we talk about it all the time. Any hockey person talks about it. That's how you win in the playoffs. Those 1 goal games are going to make the difference for you. They're going to be the make or the break for your team. So they need to find a way to win these games. And that's what I'm looking for. Strong showing. Kuz, Ovi, Wilson, Sprong. Get going. Keep her going, Ovi. Everybody else, find your groove again. I mean, everybody's been pretty good. Just need to find it. Struggled a little bit this week, but it happens. So looking for everybody to get back on track, find their way. Looking for Vanacek to cement himself as the starter. And we will see. We know Samsonov's going to play at least 1 game this week because they have a back-to-back. So that's what I'm looking for. Hopefully, we'll be talking about some wins next time I join you. We'll be, as my usual, stretch. This was a weird one. 3 games to discuss in this one. Usually do 2. So that's what we're going to stay with moving forward. Hopefully, we will be sitting here talking about a win over the Sabres, a win over the Red Wings, and keep her going. Good vibes all around. Get some injured guys back, hopefully. We'll see. Till next time, go Caps.